Hey, welcome to the show. This is Chandler.
Hey, this guy's Chad.
And looks like it's another episode of our WWE-Cap. Who's ready? This seems like a very exciting week for WWE. But again, we're only 2 weeks away from Mania. How you feeling, Chad?
Good. I am stoked. Like, what a great time to really be getting back into watching WWE. Like, probably their best run ever, I'm thinking.
Ooh,
Like, at least since Attitude Era. Like, this is
yes.
crazy, compelling stuff.
I think I was listening to some other reviews, but one of the points they were making is that, especially on Raw, it's filled with stars. Like, not just over people, not just talented wrestlers, it's stars. So you got Cody, Seth, Drew, The Rock, CM Punk, Becky Lynch, Rhea Ripley, like all these big names having big segments, and it's making these like episodes feel really impactful. You know, they're trying not to have these people wrestle because no one wants an injury this close to Mania, but they're able to fill it in a really compelling way. And what a great couple of weeks to start reviewing WWE. Right? Am I right? I really enjoyed watching.
I was going through this, and I was like, I was hooked. I was compelled. And then, like, I was driving home to do this review, and I'm like, I haven't watched one WWE match this week. It's all been promo angle. And I don't care because this stuff's way more interesting.
Yeah, it's getting to the point, like, I don't have cable and I don't want to get cable, but I kind of want to start watching Raw live.
Yeah.
It's almost getting to that point where it's so enthralling and interesting. Like, I don't want to miss anything. Like, put it this way. We'll kind of putting the cart in front of the horse here, but I thought The Rock was going to be on this Raw. I didn't know it was next week's Raw. So I was like, oh, The Rock came out. That's pretty, like, what I expected that, but then everyone was like, no, that was unannounced, unexpected. So, like, anything can happen right now.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that. We're getting ahead of ourselves. So let's start with some Down. So first up, the opening match was Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar. I was kind of surprised they were doing this on SmackDown, but it makes sense because I think I've been saying this for a little bit. They're setting up a tag team match at WrestleMania. So basically, it went about 8 minutes, but then someone in a Rey Mysterio match jumped in, made the interference, and cost Rey the match. And turns out it was Dominic Mysterio.
Dun, dun.
Who could have thought? I was saying, like, you got to get this Dom kid on Mania. You can't have a Mania without Dominic these days. And so seeing him get in the fold is really nice. And who do you think Rey is going to call upon to be the tag team partner? Because I think there's a few options. Carlitos makes the most sense, but it's not that exciting, unfortunately. Yeah. You never can rule out Bad Bunny when it's.
Ooh.
And I think that's a big pull, and they would have set that up a lot earlier. But that's a name. But the name I think the most that makes sense is Andrade. Give him a nice WrestleMania match. But who do you think?
Oh man.
Who do you think? Who do you want?
I mean, Andrade makes the most sense for Thick, but I mean, I always want to see Bad Bunny. That dude's amazing. I didn't even know that'd be on the table. That's great.
Well, they didn't announce Bad Bunny last year. He was just on Spanish commentary. So,
cool.
And then he played a little role in the match. Like, I think Damian Priest was on the apron or something, and Bad Bunny pulled him off or something. Like, it was pretty small, but Bad Bunny still got involved, and that's what set up the Damian Priest Bad Bunny match at Backlash the next month.
Oh, cool.
But I think that's pretty interesting. And then I thought we had all the teams for the ladder match, but there were 2 qualifying matches on this night. The first one was Grayson Waller and Austin Theory versus the OC, and then Waller Theory wins. That's kind of about it. It was like a 6-minute match. It ended in a roll-up. And at first I was like, oh, I thought this was just for the ladder match. So I was like, oh, okay, I like Grayson Waller. I hope he can do well, but that's about it. And skipping ahead, the other one was the AOP versus the Street EPs.
Yeah.
And the Street EPs won that one. So it's going to be Street Profits versus Waller and Theory next week. Who do you think wins that and gets into the ladder match?
Ooh. Man, I have to really look at the brackets more closely because, yeah, it's a question of, I mean, I love the Profits, so that. But I feel like the way the ladder's shape or the brackets shaping up, it makes more sense for Theory to be in there because they're going to eat the loss at some point. So, yeah, I think Waller Theory probably.
Yeah, and I think because I was thinking, right, like, well, what are the Street Profits doing at Mania? What's Bobby Lashley doing at Mania? Are they actually going to do this 6-man tag of Karrion Kross and the AOP versus Lashley and Street Profits? Well, how do you set that up? Have AOP and Karrion Kross interfere in the match, cause them to lose, so you still get that 6-man tag. And I hate to say it, that might be the least interested match I would be in at Mania. Like, I wasn't really interested in the Styles Knight one, but just with how much I like Styles and Knight, I'm coming around and I'm starting to get really excited for it. But
did you catch that angle?
The one where, oh my gosh, I love it, where Styles is just sitting down, he's filming something, and then you hear the car horn, and Knight's like, I told you it was on site. I told you it was on site. Yeah. And so that was what sold me on this angle. Is I was like, all right, LA Knight, you're going to have a big WrestleMania win, and I can't wait.
Yeah, it's funny. I was listening to What Culture, and they because they're going to a Mania, and they're like, this just turned it from the pee break match to, God darn it, now I got to watch this and find a different pee break.
There's like no pee break matches this year. I can't believe it. So that was pretty interesting. But now focusing on the women for a segment. Obviously, we're talking about Naomi versus Io Sky. This was a pretty clean victory for Io Sky, which is nice. Build her up towards Mania. And then, of course, Damage Kataro tried to beat down Naomi afterwards, but Bianca Belair made the save. But the number games, they thwarted them again. And they also announced that Jade Cargill is officially part of SmackDown, and her first SmackDown will be next week. So I feel like this theory I've been saying, whether it's a 6-woman tag where it's Belair, Naomi, and Jade versus Asuka, Kairi, and Dakota Kai, or it's just the 3 women go out to support Bayley to cover her in the match. I think that's what they're setting up here. So how you feeling about that?
I think it's a good way to, this is for me, like, in a world without the bloodline, the Damage Kataro segments would almost be an A storyline for me. Like, it's been really compelling stuff. And I think this is a great way to, fold Jade into a good story and kind of give her some a way to get out there in front of people without throwing her off in the deep end and be like, here's a big singles feud, figure it out. Like, so
yeah,
it's a really smart way to do it. It's almost like Sting's retirement. Like, we're not going to let you, we're not going to let you drown here. So
yeah,
it's great. And it's basically in one of the most compelling storylines that, WWE's even got going. So I think that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, Jade Cargill, for me, made the Women's Rumble really awesome and compelling this year. So seeing her again at WrestleMania, I think it's meant for her. And then next up, we already talked about the LA Knight AJ Styles segment. Already talked about the Street EPs and Waller Theory. So we're already on the main event, which is the Reigns and Rhodes segment. So I watched this before Monday, obviously, because it's at this point, at least with these big Cody Rhodes segments, I'm watching them as soon as they're out because I want to know. And I liked it, but I think that's just because I'm so excited about this match and I'm so excited for Cody that anything he does is like gold to me right now. But especially compared to the Raw Rock segment, it's kind of a little tame, especially with Roman. It's like he's going for that same psychological mind game he wanted to do last year. And especially with what The Rock's been doing, this is like way past that. So I don't know. There was some good stuff. Like Reigns called Rhodes a politician. It's like, oh, you promised things like winning the title and supporting these people, and everything you do for these people is just a cover up to make people like you. And that's pretty interesting. And then Rhodes did the typical, oh, who's the leader in the bloodline? Is it The Rock? Is it Roman? Like, he's asking what we're all thinking. But that was kind of it, at least for the talking segment. So until we get to the end, how'd you feel about that bit?
It was good. For me, Roman's always at his hottest, where he's usually building up to his big point, and then he has that really big emphasis at the end. And I feel like this didn't really have that. It just kind of all of a sudden that he did the snappy bit and all that. So, yeah, it felt a bit meandering, but I guess one more segment, like one more SmackDown to go, or is there 2?
Just two more
Two.
SmackDowns.
Yeah, with 2 more to go, maybe they're still waiting to pull the trigger on that one really big moment before Mania. But yeah, this one just kind of felt almost like we're kind of just trying to keep the wheels spinning a bit.
Yeah, I doubt Roman's gonna miss the next 2 SmackDowns, and they've already announced that Roman and Rock will be on Raw next week. So
Okay.
I think we're gonna get a lot more from this, hopefully. And then at the very end, you got the very own Avengers Assemble moment because it was Cody had that good line in the beginning where he's like, "If you're a man of your word, I'm a man of my word," because he knew Roman was lying the whole time. And so Solo and Jimmy all come out and they're all looking gruff. But then you see, oh, who's that one goober in the crowd? Is it Sting? No, it's Jey Uso. And then there's another goober in the crowd. It's Seth Rollins. I don't know how he snuck his title in, but that was pretty funny. That's
and his wardrobe, really.
That's something I'm always picky about is when someone comes out and they're not wearing their belt. I'm like, you should wear that belt all times. You should wear it in the shower. You should wear it when you're changing. Like, never to leave it. So it was a nice little touch. I liked it, and it's setting up for a good Mania. But I think we're gonna get a whole lot more Avengers if you catch my cold.
Oh yeah. Are you on team somebody's no longer on the AEW roster?
Oh,
is that what you're alluding to?
No. I think we're gonna get a whole lot of nonsense in the Roman Reigns Cody Rhodes.
Oh God, yeah. No,
I
think
it's
gonna be overbooked.
But I think it's gonna be the greatest sports entertainment overbooking ever because we'll get to it. But I think they're teasing things, and there's reports coming out about things that are people who are gonna be at Mania most likely. So we'll get to that. But first, Raw. We had a pretty good Cody Rhodes promo. This was a pretty just, I wouldn't say generic, but standard babyface promo. And I don't want that to be bad. He just didn't say anything that like changed the wheel. It didn't it wasn't impactful, but it was still good. Essentially, the best part was him being like, I haven't really pointed at the sign, after you win the Royal Rumble.
That was cool.
So can you all point at the sign for me? So that's pretty sick. And then all of a sudden, if you smell, here comes The Rock, baby. And again, I was like, oh, whatever, it's The Rock, but this is a lot bigger than that because it's he wasn't supposed to be here, guys.
Yeah.
And the shot of like from Rhodes, you see Rock coming out. What have they done with their production design? All you had to do was fire Kevin Dunn.
Yeah.
This whole time.
Yeah, it went from like, they've always had top-notch production, but it went from like local sports team to friggin' cinema. Like, holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what would you kick him out, get like Chris Nolan or something? Like, it looks cinematic now. Like when like Rock comes out, Rhea Ripley, holy crap. Like they do like some amazing trucking shots. I was like, what are you guys like? Are you gonna just start doing it in film now somehow? Like, what is going on?
Chris got that Oscar and he's like, I'm done filming movies. I'm going to wrestling, baby. Yeah. That's my calling. And then did you catch what Rock whispered to Cody?
I did not.
So I got this from someone else, people who do lip reading. He just went, Cody, I'm going to make you bleed. Oh. So that, I really like how this whole nonsense with Cody and Rock and Roman started with Rock whispering something to Cody and Cody leaving and all that nonsense. And now he's kind of bringing it back with him, like whispering again. Like, I can't believe that Cody and Rock is one of, or if not the most hyped match at Mania, and it's not the title match. Like I'm excited for Cody to win the title, unless he doesn't, then could you imagine at this point? But the big story is Cody and Rock. That's the way more interesting thing here, especially what comes on later. So I think that's kind of interesting. A lot of people thought it was intentional for Roman Reigns to kind of be the side piece. But now the longer it goes, the less likely it seems. And we only have like 3 more potential times for them to pick this up, No,
it's been, like I said, it's the the whole bloodline thing is, it's a bit of a roller coaster. It ebbs and flows like any good story. And then this is just like Oscar worthy. Like I just like this is compelling. And you said like the main bad guy is all of a sudden no longer the final boss. We got a new final boss. What's up? Like this is very cool.
And again, we got like crappy Rock earlier this year. The Rock we've been getting for 2 decades since he left, we got him this year. So it's crazy that he can be that Rock and then go, oh, that's not really needed right now. I'll pivot. I'll be a better actor than I ever was in Hollywood. So I think every AEW Dynamite we talk about, I eat my humble pie about the Young Bucks. And I want every WWE-Cap, I want to eat my humble pie for The Rock. Because I was really against him coming in. And he has turned a complete 180. And he has proven himself to me somehow, because I guess I wasn't aware, that he is one of the greatest ever. Greatest ever on the mic.
No, exactly. No, like the thing that popped, like before all this, that was freshest to me in my mind about him in WWE was the flamethrower burying Eric Rowan Rock. And I was like, oh man, like where's attitude? Oh, this is the guy that we've wanted the whole time.
So
it's amazing.
It's good to see. But moving on to the one match we're probably going to talk about, Ricochet versus JD McDonough. We're talking about it. I watched the YouTube highlight, but even that was sensational. The best part of it, so essentially Ricochet was on the ground and JD McDonough was trying to pick him up. Ricochet jumped up, got on his shoulders, and did a like standing Canadian destroyer. It was stupid, but it was fantastic. And Pat McAfee like freaked out. I had to rewatch it like 3 times just to make sure like I saw it right. So
yeah, that shouldn't have been possible. It was like one of those like, did they just like do this in reverse, then play it in reverse kind of things? Like, like there was no way they should have been it, but they did it. Cool.
So are they heating up Ricochet? Are they doing something with Ricochet?
I hope so. I've been wanting that since NXT.
He's pretty, like, he's always been fantastic, and he can have some viral moments, like the little bit where he jumped over the rope in NXT and like it was flawless. And then the bit with Logan Paul in the Royal Rumble last year. Like, Ricochet can do viral things. He just can't talk. So
true.
I think that's their struggle with him. But if they're actually doing something with him, I don't know where this would lead, right? Maybe it's just heating up to a good world title match where he doesn't win, but he comes super close. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, and I'll give you a few human highlight reel moments, and that's all you really need. Throw them on the intro when they recut the intro.
But glad he's being used well. And then finally, onto that other kind of good promo segment, Punk, McIntyre, and Rollins. Holy crap, guys. One of the, like, what, like, I didn't know they could say this kind of stuff on WWE anymore. Like, I saw, what made me watch this clip immediately, because I was going to watch it anyways, but I got a little YouTube short, and it was the bit where they were all chanting referee, and Rollins was like, sorry, guys, but that's his counting hand, by the way. And Punk just gets down 1, 2, 3 with his left hand, and then he goes, you know what? I'm going to swear. You know what? I probably wouldn't be impartial because I couldn't call it fair between these two dipshits. And then you got McIntyre on the announce table going, PG, brother. So, like,
yeah, it felt very loose and almost like it was a shoot. Like I was like, I kept going back and forth. I'm like, wow, is he like legit getting chippy with them? Because it felt that way. But I feel like they wouldn't be giving him that much leeway, though.
I bet you Punk was like, hey, all that stuff that Rock's doing, I'm going to do it. And it wasn't a I want to. It was a I'm going to do it. So just let it happen. But I think some of the best lines they had, like when he was calling Drew out and his music was playing, he's like, cut that crap music on. Stop it. I thought that was pretty funny. I loved how he had his Savior of WrestleMania shirt, and it was a little tick box, and it said Enter CM Punk. And Punk just went, I never had to put another man's name on my t-shirt to sell it. That's like the Hangman Adam Page like peg warmer stuff. Yeah. But like, fine, because they agreed to it. And Drew's right there. You can take it.
Yeah.
And then I loved the Chosen One rant where he was like, Who made you Chosen One, huh? What was his name? Like, it worked doubly because you could be like, in general, like who gave you that mantra? But then it's like insider, like, ooh,
Yeah.
we all
Ooh, we're not
know.
allowed to even say that right now.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty dang good. Just this whole segment, even Rollins was able to keep up, which is surprising, but like this was Punk and McIntyre's
Yeah.
show.
I like the
100%.
my favorite part though. Do you want to know what I think? Nope. Just like
Yeah.
no pause. Also,
Immediate.
also him his return was just boo this man. Like just how quick he was with that stuff. It was
Mhm.
like, my God, how fast does that man's brain work?
And then
I'm the guy who's like driving home and I'm like, I should have said that. Like
mhm.
I don't understand how he does it.
Yeah, I loved how it ended too, where Punk was like, you're gonna need me to make this match look interesting. I'm out. Play my music." And he threw the mic and he walked out. And then Drew just gets up and he's all pissed. He's like, "No, no, no, it's not the ending." And I liked how he was so like obsessed with Punk for a minute, and he was ranting so much he didn't even catch Rollins right behind him, and Rollins kicked him and stood tall in the end. Which again, what's what you should do right now. So I thought this was a fantastic segment. And the only thing I really have to ask you, how do you feel about Punk commentating at Mania? Is that what you wanted him to do, or would you have wanted something else?
I mean, if I can't have him wrestle, yeah, throw him on the desk. Like his strength right now is that his brain in his mouth. Like wrestling, reffing, I feel like he'd be almost wasted because yeah, I want to hear him. I want to hear all the fucked up stuff he's gonna say.
I I was hoping for referee this whole time, but it might be one of those things where it was kind of thought about, but then they were like, we don't want to like push your injury, or maybe Punk's like, I don't want to push my injury. So
Yeah.
if they want to minimize any chance of that, I'm fine with that. And I think I'm glad he's on the show. I think we said it off air, but I'm really glad that WWE is still able to use Punk in such a good way when he's injured,
Yeah.
unlike AEW, where they just kind of like,
Oh, yeah, people just go into the void, except for Adam
mhm.
Cole, who really should have went into the void.
Yeah, Adam Cole should have gone into the void, but he's still around. But Punk, I mean, he was on the WrestleMania backstage thing where he was like, I would have punched my employer in the mouth. I would have punched my boss in the mouth. And then he got to be in this excellent promo where he's still keeping his feud with Rollins and McIntyre hot. Like he's great. I
Yeah,
hate to say it. I'm really glad he's in WWE. I think he's going to add
the
something
right
really
place for him.
I think he's going to add something really special. And I know a lot of this like uptick in WWE right now is either due to Cody Rhodes or because of The Rock. I know it's mostly those two. I think CM Punk's a part of it because
Mhm.
CM Punk kind of like got a big excitement back in WWE. Like, oh
Yeah.
crap, CM Punk is back.
Yeah, no, it literally broke Twitter there for a minute. I remember because like Survivor Series was going on while I was at work and I went out back for break and I think scrolling through and just holy crap, he's back. He's back. Like then I got off work and I just went home and I watched Survivor Series front to back, even though it was already pretty late. Like
Mm-hmm.
and then before you know it, I'm watching segments. If I'm at home on a Friday night, like early enough on Friday, I'll catch SmackDown. Like
Mm-hmm.
darn, they did
Yeah.
it. It worked.
I say it a lot with AEW and the WCW review. This CM Punk kid, he's good, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's pretty good. All right, moving on. That was a good segment. It wasn't a whole lot after this. There was a good Becky Lynch segment, but first, Judgment Day ruined the tag team match. What I liked most of this is like it's the first time R-Truth kind of got to stand tall because he
Yeah.
kind of took on like Finn and Dom and JD for a minute, and it took Damian Priest blindsiding him to take him out. So I'm glad that they're like they can keep the comedy with R-Truth, but they're finally starting to be like, well, he can wrestle. Like he doesn't
Yeah.
need to always accidentally get a win. He can just get the win.
Yeah, no, dude could go. Like it's psychotic how what is he, 51?
Don't say that.
Oh my gosh. Doesn't
So
he hasn't aged in like 30 years. It's amazing. And yeah, his move set, like he still looks great. It's awesome.
yeah, I wasn't super stoked for the idea of the Awesome Truth winning the tag titles at Mania. I think there's a lot of other people that could do it, but the closer we get, like every other feud, I'm like, you know what? I think I like it. I think it's a good idea. Or they could swerve us. Someone else could win.
Yeah.
Moving on is the Becky Lynch Rhea Ripley segment. I didn't get to watch a whole lot of this. I only caught the 3-minute clip of the end that was on YouTube, but it was pretty good. I mean, what I saw, Rhea Ripley basically was like, I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to leave you alive just enough so that you can watch me with your daughter on TV and your daughter can call me mommy. And then Becky Lynch did the typical Dax Harwood, you ever mention my family again, I'll kill you. But again, Lynch is so good, she pulls it off, right? So it worked. And then Becky punched Dom Dom. What a heel.
That was amazing. Like, they slowed that up and his jaw did the like his head went one way, and Pat McAfee sold that so well. It was the perfect moment for that spot.
Yeah. And then basically Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley got to brawl, which is nice because they haven't really had any interaction. So I think this was the segment these two needed to light up their feud, because it's not like their feud hasn't been bad. It's not like people aren't excited for the match. It just hasn't been built.
No, it wasn't personal. It had no heat. Now, holy crap.
It's got heat,
lots
brother.
Of both.
It's got heat, brother. Moving on. So this is something that I really wanted to see, and I couldn't find anything on YouTube. But basically the whole Sami Zayn, Gunther, Chad Gable story, because Chad Gable is still a part of this.
Okay.
So basically Sami Zayn had a match with Bronson Reed, and due to Gunther distracting Sami and getting in his head, Bronson Reed won. So the match, the whole story is that Gunther is in Sami Zayn's head right now, and he went into a backstage segment where he was like, Gunther's in my head, I can't get him out, And Chad Gable basically said, I can help you. We can figure this out. So are they teasing Gable training Zayn to defeat Gunther? Is that what we're going down?
Ooh, that could be fun.
I'm so torn on this because I really want Gable to be the one to end Gunther's reign, but it would be they'd have to do it pretty well to make it not feel super deflating when Gunther wins.
Yeah.
Because I still love Gunther. I think Gunther should win, but I also think it might suck the air out of that stadium if he does. So
true, but at the same time, Sami is kind of the perfect guy to get that sympathy for the loss. How many times have we seen Sami come up short and it guts you, but you're always behind Sami? He's kind of the perfect guy to maybe even build up that extra heat for maybe Chad Gable to take it down later on the line.
If I were Mr. Triple H Booker Man here, what I would do is Sami Zayn loses, but Sami Zayn is the one to take the world title off of either Drew McIntyre or Damian Priest.
Ooh.
I think that's your long-term story, is Drew McIntyre wins at Mania, and I think there's a not 0% chance that Priest cashes in on McIntyre and wins it, so that either Sami Zayn's the one to take down either of them, and then when Gunther loses his Intercontinental title, who do you think he goes after? Immediately.
Yeah.
So that's how I would be booking this. And I would still say if Sami Zayn wins, I think they'll be able to pull it off, right? These guys are professionals. These guys are the best in the world. So I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be good no matter what. Finally, last match of the night, Shinsuke versus Jey Uso. I wrote, based on the review, this is a classic Attitude Era match because the wrestling didn't really matter. It was all about who was on the outside and who was brawling. So essentially, Jimmy and Solo came out and they were trying to cause a ruckus, but then Rollins and Cody came out and they were trying to save, and then McIntyre came out and he was beating up Rollins. So all these people around, Jey Uso got the win pretty easily, but then Cody was fighting Solo back to the, backstage, and all of a sudden Rock blindsides him, and he starts hitting him and he's punching him, and he hits him with a trash can on the head twice. Can you believe that? So I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And then they went to the outside and it was all raining and it looked fantastic. And Cody Rhodes' perfect suit is getting all tattered and wet. And I was like, man, this is a pretty impactful segment. It's got to be almost over, right? I was 2 minutes in.
Dude, it got uncomfortable. I love it when he just kept throwing him into Cody's picture dog on the Cody bus. I was like, this is just getting awkward in the best of ways.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was uncomfortable to watch. Like, but the way they want it to be uncomfortable
Yeah.
to watch, the perfect way it's uncomfortable to watch. And The Rock is basically just calling him boy. He's like, "This is your hero. This is who you all want. This is who you all care about." Just talking a load of smack. I love the bit where he was like, "You're mad that The Rock didn't have anything to say? Well, you're gonna regret that." Just perfect.
Uh-huh.
Did you think he was also gonna throw Cody Rhodes over the little bridge or whatever when he had him over it?
Yeah, there was one angle where it was like, oh God, like this is how this man dies.
I was like, oh, he's throwing him over. And I think it's so much better that he didn't. I think that would have been cheesy. Like that
Yeah.
would have been hokey. So I'm so glad that he didn't. The restraint they've had in this is like incredible. Because there was this like feeling I had, and it was like a little bit of excitement because I was like, this is the first time Rock's gotten physical since he came back.
Yep.
So that's really cool to see.
Yeah, and it felt more steeped in reality. It wasn't a people's elbow where a rock bottom. It was a very believable beatdown. Like uncomfortable, gritty, like it looked kind of like a real street fight. It was awful.
Yeah. Rock felt like a bully and the final boss that he claims to be. Because he kept it was simple, just kept throwing Cody into the truck, throwing him into the truck, and then Cody's bleeding. We get blood on Monday Night Raw, brother.
Yeah.
And Cody or The Rock takes off his belt and it says Mama Rhodes on it. And he like wipes his hand all over Cody's face. So you get the red blood and the blonde hair. You get that crazy visual. And he starts rubbing it all over the belt. And he's talking to Mama Rhodes. He's going to give it to Mama Rhodes. I thought this was such a good segment all around. Like one of the best segments I've probably ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we just said that about the Rock concert last weekend, specifically the promo after the Rock concert. Like, it's just home run after home run right now. Like, this has legit got me like, could this be the best Mania? Probably it's going to be up there. It's going to be in the top 5. But what do you better than X7? Because that one's kind of goated.
That's one of the few retro ones that I missed as a kid because I was 1 when it came out.
Yeah.
How about that? But I went back and watched it, and I was like, "Oh, this is as good as everyone says. This is fantastic." But I think it could be an all-timer. I think I don't want to sound fed-pilled, but I think they were planning this a lot longer than we thought because there's things, right? So people are saying everything that The Rock is doing is on purpose. So specifically, when Rock is holding Cody over, you see a truck in the background. Did you know who was on that truck?
No.
John Cena and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, that's funny.
And a lot of reports were like, if that was just a regular truck, they would have had like Charlotte or Becky Lynch or Rhea Ripley or like
it would have been
modern day stars.
Huh.
But it was specifically John Cena and Stone Cold Steve Austin. So what I think might going to happen for this main event is obviously night 1, Rock pins Cody. You set up that peril, and it's, oh no, Cody's lost twice now. He can't do it. And then there's a double down. You know, you got Rock, Solo, Jimmy, all about to start causing some ruckus. And then all of a sudden, John Cena comes out. And all of a sudden, Stone Cold Steve Austin comes down. And they're just there to, like, make the difference, right? And what was Cena's last match? What was Cena's last thing he did in WWE? Do you know?
Ooh, foggy. My brain is foggy.
Getting jobbed out to Solo Sikoa at Crown Jewel. Solo hit him with the thumb like 10 times.
Yeah, that's right. That speaking of uncomfortable, jeez.
So again, maybe they've been planning this for a bit, right?
Wow.
Maybe, yeah. So I'm getting pretty excited, not just because John Cena and Austin might come back, but I think just the whole thing. I think this whole thing will be a love letter to what WWE was for the last 40 years. And if Rhodes wins, I think this will be a new era, like a completely new era. So
yeah, almost just hit the big red button, blow it all up, and be like, okay, we're starting from scratch.
Or Cody loses again, and we do this at 41.
Yeah. God, I hope not. I don't know if
That's
I have. I don't know if I have it emotionally in me to do this again.
I've heard a lot of people also saying Dusty finish, which I get it. You know, Cody Rhodes' father is Dusty, right?
Yeah.
I get it, but no.
So what are the odds that MJF come out and do you think that's all just a bunch of hubbubaloo?
I don't. Was there actual reports of that, or just
I mean,
people
no,
speculating?
just speculation of because like him being pulled from the roster on the AEW site and stuff. Some people are like he's going to come out and either cost Cody or win it for Cody. I've heard both.
I don't. I don't think so. I think if MJF was going to be in WWE, he'd be in the Royal Rumble, like
Yeah.
or like I know he was super injured, but that would be insane. Could you imagine if it was like Cena and Austin, but oh no, it's not enough, and
Right?
then that
Yeah.
stupid theme starts playing.
Yeah.
That place would erupt. Or what if MJF still is with AEW and they're doing a little handshake,
Yeah.
little handshake deal, huh?
Yeah.
I doubt that'll ever happen,
No,
but
if they do that, they need to do my R-Truth booking. Just his music plays on an AEW, he walks out that goes like, "Oh, this is not Monday Night Raw," and just
where's all
turn
the
around and
red?
walk back in.
Where's all the or no? Have him go to the ring and like Adam Copeland's in the ring with the TNT title, and he's like, Edge, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in a year. I was injured. You were injured. Like it's so good. But that's about it for this week in WWE. Again, NXT. We wanted to start talking about NXT, but there isn't a whole lot going on in NXT except for Carmelo Hayes and Trick Willie. So that match is still happening, guys.
Yeah, beyond that, I keep wanting to watch it. I hear it's actually really fun if you're into goofy, gimmicky type wrestling, which this guy is. There's just only so many hours in the week.
Yeah, we got AEW 4 hours a week. We got these retro reviews. We got these highlights. So only so much. But anything else you want to add about this week in WWE?
No, just I'm enjoying it. It's pretty weird. 2 years ago, if you would have been like, "Hey, do you think consider yourself watching WWE, let alone doing a podcast about it?" I'd be like, "Oh, hell no." But now it's kind of part of my favorite. Like I
Mm-hmm.
love AEW for its crazy action, but I love this drama. Like, wow, it's compelling.
Like for AEW, it's a lot of like potential things down the road that I'm looking forward to. Like I'm looking forward to Osprey and Danielson. I'm looking forward to what Okada does with this title. I'm looking forward to Swerve winning the title. But those are all matches, right? And
Yeah.
matches are all fantastic. But that sometimes it feels like that's all AEW is great matches. Which is that sounds like me complaining about that. I'm not. It's just the difference, right?
Yeah.
The WWE, like, when's the last time AEW had a backstage brawl that was good or compelling, right? You could say that about WWE, but they just had the best one ever.
Yeah.
So I think you got to look at it like that. And I'm not saying you need Danielson and Osprey to start blooding each other. Like that's like, no, save that for the match. There are certain times and certain places, but I think WWE is cooking with gas right now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and it's all drama and storylines. Like I said, over 5 hours of programming, other than Ricochet, there's not really a single match I'd kind of really go out of the way to watch. But there's still a good hour and a half worth of programming of just promo after segment that I was like just glued to on YouTube. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah. So great time to be a wrestling fan in general. Great time to be a WWE fan. Great time to be an AEW fan. WrestleMania is less than 2 weeks away. I have both days off, so I'm super stoked.
Nice.
But other than that, let us know if you're excited for Mania. Maybe what match you're looking forward to the most. If you had to say right now, what match are you looking forward to the most at Mania?
Specifically the match, like for in ring.
Yeah, we'll do one in ring and one for
Like
Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns.
Yeah, pretty much.
'Cause-
Sammy Gunther, come on. Any Gunther match. Like that's just it's the perfect combination of almost a final boss and a dude that can sell and get sympathy. Like, it's just, speaking of uncomfortable, holy crap.
Yeah, that's gonna be uncomfortable. I think for me, I want to see the tag. I want to say the tag match just because I'm really excited for The Rock right now. And I would probably honestly like just for how amazing their match was last year, or not their match, but Rhea and Flair. That match was incredible. So I think, despite that, I am excited for Rhea Ripley and Lynch. I think I'm still
Yeah.
sleeping on it. I still think I'm not ready for it. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh no, they're gonna crank up the heat over the next couple weeks, right? Like, it just got personal. Now it's just like, they're gonna just crank that heat up to 11.
I mean, one of my favorite matches from WrestleMania 38 was Lynch and Belair. I think if Cody didn't return, that would have been my match of the night.
Yeah.
That was match of the weekend because that was such a great match. And then WrestleMania 39, a little bit different because it was a little bit more stacked, but one of my favorite matches was Rhea Ripley and Flair. So now you have two members of two of my last favorite matches in WrestleMania history. Now they're gonna collide at 40.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Can't wait. And this will hopefully catapult Rhea Ripley to like unheard of levels for a woman.
I hope
superstar.
so.
But she's gonna beat the previously established female megastar and like to the moon with her. To the moon with her.
Yeah, no, it's what Flair, then oh my gosh. Yeah, I've been on her like Team Ripley since that Elimination Chamber match. She had that amazing finish, and I was like, that Riptide is like one hell of a cool finisher. And and that was like just the beginnings. And then, like I said, I kind of fell out for a bit. Now coming back, and I'm like, oh yeah, they figured her out. This is amazing.
They got it. They're locked in.
Yeah.
Well, I think that about does it. Make sure to check out our other content. We'll be reviewing AEW Dynamite here in a few days, so check that out. Of course, it's going to be Swerve and Takeshita. I can't wait. Check out our short form videos. You're uploading a top 5 here in the next day or so, right? It's scheduled to top 5 craziest WWE bumps ever.
Yeah. And spoiler, I gave honorable mention, but to give everybody else a chance, I said Mankind versus Undertaker in the Hell in the Cell is off the table. So that's just too obvious.
I think that's fair, because it's like whenever you see a top 5 unscripted moments ever in wrestling, it's like, yeah, we all know about the screw job. We're not going to put the screw job so we can talk about something else other than the screw job. Everybody knows the screw job. But so check us out on our audio forms too. So Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and elbow drop that like button, power bomb the subscribe button, and leave us a comment. Ask us anything. We'll hopefully answer. And thank you for watching. Have a great night.
Peace.
Bye-bye.